And let's see if that'll go through. All right. That's not the link that I was trying to send you. Let me try one more time. Nope. All right. I will send links later. We're just going to move on for time purposes. We'll skip the intro. This is an interactive session, so if you have questions, please put them in the chat. I should be able to see all your chats as they pop up. I hit that button that says show on Restream so you can see each other's questions. All right. Today's course is all about making AI search work for you by connecting you to the right tools. We'll start with a quick recap of what we learned in the last session, which was a while ago. Then we'll dive into how connectors help unify search across platforms. You'll see how Rovo fits into the larger AI search landscape, how to choose the right configuration, and what best practices to keep it effective and responsible. By the end, you'll know how to make AI search truly work across your organization. Now, in our last class, we discussed the stages 5 and 7 of the Scalable AI Adoption Framework. It was guardrail and govern. Guardrail makes AI adoption safe and intentional. They're the rules and decisions, the gates, the safeguards that keep AI aligned with your organization's ethics, compliance, and goals. Governance takes that a step further by providing ongoing oversight to ensure AI remains accurate, fair, and valuable over time. That's the big difference. People tend to get governance and guardrails confused. Over time and based off of your feedback, retraining, and updated policies. When both are in place, AI delivers consistent value without creating new risks. Teams trust it on their daily work, and leadership trusts the outcome. Today, we are focusing on experiment, the stages of personal AI adoption and scalable AI adoption using AI search with connectors. So that's our experiment. This is the full framework, as you can see. Path experimentation means safely testing AI in your daily workflow. Here, that means trying to connect search, seeing how well AI can surface accurately, relevant information across your tools, and refining the prompt or what you write in that search bar to get the best results. And then in SAF, or scalable AI adoption, experimentation happens at scale. It's about running structured pilots across connected search across teams. So it's not just can one person do a search and get accurate responses. It's can various teams use search and connect other environments and get consistent, accurate results. And you're monitoring access and validating the results for a broader rollout. People just think when they type things into search and boom, it's going to work and it's always accurate. That is not the case. Together, these frameworks give us a clear approach to start small, learn fast, and refine responsibly as AI search becomes a part of your organization's work. All right, to warm up, here's a bit of a trivia question. When did Google start using large language models in search? Was it 2017, 1950, 2019, or 2023? Drop your answer in the chat if you can. What do you think it is? Liz says 2023. Heike says 2019. There are so many buttons on Restream. I can get lost just in the buttons. All right, and the answer is 2019. That's when Google announced BERT to be BERT to better understand English language queries. It's a good reminder that many of us are already using AI long before we realized it. Every time we searched, translated, or got a suggested reply, that was AI or large language model quietly working in the background. So people think AI happened or was created in 2020. That's just not the case. What we call AI now is large language models, and they've existed for a significant amount of time. So the information we need to do our job rarely lives in one place. It's scattered across emails, Slack channels, and team messages, shared folders, websites, and even personal desktops, which is a challenge. When AI-powered search first appeared, it only could work in its own environment. For example, Copilot could only search OneDrive or SharePoint, but nothing beyond. That created silos, and you couldn't get a full picture. You were getting a partial answer. That's where connectors come in. They bridge between systems to let AI search across tools. Now, instead of running 5 separate searches, pulling up your Slack, then going through your email, then going through your shared drive, you can search in one place and it surfaces responses or answers wherever they exist in whichever tool. So when organizations adopt AI search with connectors, the number one concern is security, making sure the right people have the right access to the right information and nothing more. But security is not enough alone. People also want trust. They want to know where their information is accurate. Is it the most up to date? Is it relevant to my question? AI search isn't helpful if you can't trace or verify the sources. So if you're using an AI search tool and it's not telling you where you're getting that information from, and if you ask a follow-up question of like, where did you get that information from? And it doesn't answer you, that's a problem. You should pause there. And that's like a yellow flag. It's not a red flag, but it's definitely something to be concerned about. In larger organization, though, there's another layer that they're requesting, and that's control. They want to guide people to the most reliable and approved content, not just whatever turns up when you first search. So a good AI search doesn't just connect the systems, but it builds confidence through secure access, clear sourcing, and curated controls over what surfaces. Now, this course was created in response to our AI accelerator. And in the AI accelerator, there's a brilliant person, and I'm not going to call her out by name because I didn't ask her permission beforehand. But she works in knowledge management, and she's like granular about it. She wants to know all of the search query fields, and she wants to be able to surface the most accurate and frequently accurate, approved, and frequently used information at the top of the list. And she wants to bury all of this other stuff so people are really focused in on the right information. And that is key to her and her organization's adoption of AI in general and Rovo specifically. So I can slow down a little bit. I know I've been speaking really fast. Let's look at let's do a demo. I'm going to minimize and then pull up. Hopefully everything is streaming well. I hope. And let me pull up it's asking me to open up my Right. We do have the studio there. Now I'm in live in 2 places. I love this. All right. I'm pulling Balassian. And I'm going to reshare my screen. And I love how Restream does not make this easy. All right. So this is my Atlassian Workplace. If you go into the connector or this app switcher here, you can pick Studio is Rovo Studio. Here is the search app or button. All right. So in the search app, the main bar is here. And one of the key aspects that I was talking about is when you search anything, when you're looking for information, is it pulling up the knowledge sources? And so in Atlassian, in Rovo, the knowledge sources come down here. And then on the side here are the connectors. The connectors, you could see I have the option to connect to Google, Slack, Figma. I could show you more. GitHub, Asana, Adobe. If these were all connected, what they would do is Rovo would pull that information and index it from the key source, and you will see numbers of indexed items on the side. And then when you search, like, what's the search name? Oh, Mason came up the other day as a recommended search. It's searching my information and it's giving me this person, and I'm in the wrong app. Standby. I need a incognito window. And so it'll give you responses on people, responses on tickets. Let me get on the right org. And when you search and it's not pulling up accurate information, you have to give the system your feedback and say, hey, and give it a thumbs down. That way it won't consistently give you that result over and over again. You have to do some training. People think that once it's one and done, like you don't have to give it feedback, but that's just not the case with Zero. Do I remember my password? No. Well, that's going to be very helpful for a demo. Oh, you know why? Caps lock. So let's look at, once this loads, where your connectors live. If you go to, now I can get in the run, administration, you do have to be an admin to run your connectors and to connect to the various different connectors. And I'm going to go in Connect Centric because I know that that's where it is. So you have Atlassian Intelligence. This is where you can find some of your, down here at the bottom, you can find, is it, let's reshare the screen. The most view window. Okay, so here, this is Atlassian Intelligence. It's where you can find your logs of information of what Atlassian Intelligence is using, including Rovo in general. And then you can also see, these are the apps that are enabled with Rovo right now. This is Rovo in general. This is specifically Rovo. I have it in Confluence, Jira Product Discovery, and Jira. This is where I'm adding my connectors. So when you add a connector, you have all of these connectors that you can work with inside of the Atlassian suite. You can find them by categories. Our third-party marketplace providers are now starting to create some connector. There's, I heard of a very interesting one out there recently. And then once you've connected it, so you click on the button, you click on the app, let's say Google, right? I'm going to connect to my Google Drive. What's going to happen is it read the screen because it helps, and it's slightly different for each connector. You have to be an admin for that workspace and enable it on the Atlassian side and then on the Google side. And so if you're an admin, but you're not the org admin, you may need to ask permission from people first before you start using these connectors. And it's probably not good that I show you my connector IDs. So I'm going to go back. Then you're going to start getting index objects. Now, Rovo is going to have consumption-based pricing. At some point, you're going to have this cap or this limit. It's very common across the industry. You're going to want to pay attention to your number of indexed objects and then the status. So sometimes you can't find information because the connector isn't indexing. And the status is that connector is down. Maybe someone changed a password in the background. Maybe there was an API error or fault. And so you have to then reconnect that connector and resync it in order to get that information again. So that is some of the common issues, and that's where you manage your connectors. Now, this is what I traditionally call a connector. There is one other kind of type of connector, and that is within Search itself has these plugins that currently I'm not a big fan on, because once you enable them, it's hard to disable them. They're listed as a connector in there, so you'll come across them and you'll struggle to disconnect them, and that's where you'll remember this moment and be like, oh, that's the search item that Valerie was talking about. Now, search looks a little different in Jira as it does in Confluence. But when you search something in your workplace in Confluence, it should pull up all the sources across the ecosystem. And then when you search it in Jira, it should also pull up your Jira tickets as well, and surface those primarily, but the other information should be there as well. So it works across the ecosystem, and then it also does your connectors. So that's what it looks like here in Jira. You can also search your projects here. The search enhancements has minimized the need for people knowing JQL, which is very nice because it's not always easy. All right, let's go back to the presentation. Let's see if I can pull up that screen. We're just going to have multiple restreams up because we're rolling with it. All right, where's my PowerPoint? Okay, and I'll reshare. Window, this one, share it. All right, so you should see my screen again. And the state of AI. So let's look at where AI-powered search and with connectors stands in today. First across the industry, and then with Rovo. Across the industry, AI search tools in Glean, Coveo, and Microsoft Copilot use connectors. Everybody has these connectors to bring information together from different systems, like cloud storage, collaboration apps, internal databases. So if you have something on premises, it can connect to your prem. Instead of just matching keywords, these tools now understand content and context, helping users find information that means what they mean, not just what they type. So that's why you can have typos in what you're saying. You can ask partial questions. Now, these aren't the best practices, but those are things you can do. Even with that progress, there are still some challenges. Many of the connectors have limits on how much data they can index or how often they refresh. I like to say that APIs haven't met the challenge of AI just yet. So there are, across the industry, this is not Rovo specific, but across the industry, there are challenges to making that work. Permissions can fall out of sync, causing results to be missing or incorrect. Sometimes if you remove a page or a document from a database, there can be a delay from that removal. And the quality of AI summaries can vary depending on the data sources and the content. So like if you remove a document in the database, like if you're using Confluence and you remove a Confluence page and it's still in the index, if someone searches and gets a summary from that search because they ask a question in the search bar, that information can still be in there. And so those are common errors to kind of look out for. Now let's narrow it down to Rovo. Rovo connects to tools like Google Drive, Slack, SharePoint, Confluence, Jira, JSM, all of your Atlassian products plus more, combining them into one unified search. It honors existing permissions, so users see what they're allowed to see and nothing more, and it uses encryption and compliance to control data security. Now, with that, there are still some limits. Connectors have usage quotas. Like I said, you use it up to a certain point, and then you kind of lose that ability. And it varies in what they support. So not all connectors work the same way. So you really do have to know your connectors and what information is being pulled in. Some allow full AI context, while others only allow basic search. The performance of Rovo search is still improving. Atlassian has reduced latency, which means like the speed it takes for you to get answers, and has boosted accuracy. One of the ways I ask people to search this is like make up 5 mock tickets and use a keyword in all of those mock tickets and do a query and see if all 5 tickets are being pulled up at once based on that search. And if they're not, how many of those 5 are, and you can kind of gauge how accurate it's working at that time. But it's improving. So Rovo's deep research feature now breaks down complex prompts, like if you ask a lot of information, into smaller steps. Now that's a best practice when you ask your search. Don't ask it a series of steps. Do step by step if you have multiple questions. But now deep research is now learning to break down, if you do ask something complex, into smaller steps. And it searches across multiple sources, citing exactly where the answer comes from. So those are those knowledge cards. But overall, AI search with connectors is becoming faster, smarter, more transparent, but it still depends on strong configuration and governance to work effectively. As always, if you have junk data in your system, you're going to get junk responses. Next up, the #1 question I get is, should I connect Atlassian tools to other platforms or connect those other platforms to Atlassian? Because those connectors can work 2 ways, or they can work 1 way. But when they work 2 ways, like when you connect Atlassian to your external sources and your external sources to Atlassian, it's not like a 2-way sync because those 2 are not connected in that aspect. They're still 1 way. So my answer to this question is, if your team works primarily in the Atlassian tools like Jira, Confluence, and likes Rovo, make that connection and manage those connectors through your admin dashboard. So you're using it in Rovo. But if your team spends more time in other platforms, like you're known to be a Microsoft team, or you have certain orgs within your organization that are Microsoft teams, then connect to the Atlassian workplace through Microsoft. And so you're flipping that connection. Here I use the example of Workday and ChatGPT. And the reason I use those 2 as examples is ChatGPT is one of those grandfathers or the grandmothers or mothers of AI. Atlassian in the background has an agreement with them. They're one of their LLMs. But sometimes OpenAI has features before Atlassian does, because Atlassian hasn't pulled that feature in through their their AI user experience. So if I need a feature or something from OpenAI first, like right now they have image generation that is better than Atlassian, I'm going to connect my ChatGPT and use that connector to pull in my Atlassian information. And the same, and I use Workday as an example because Workday is a financial tool and an HR management tool. And a lot of the times they are because of governance and rules within organizations, they have to be the primary source of information, especially if it's financial or HR related. And so since they're the holders of primary data, you would use connectors from there to pull in Atlassian. Now, I don't know if Workday actually has an Atlassian connector, but I know OpenAI or ChatGPT does. These other connectors here that are pictured are not all accurate. ChatGPT exists, Asana exists, Snowflake might exist, but it's probably high demand, and Salesforce is also high demand. So first look at where do your people work, and then who needs to control that data. That keeps the data close to where collaboration happens and makes it easier to control access, permission, and troubleshooting. If your team spends most of the time in another platform like ChatGPT, Copilot, or Google Workspace, you just need to pull the Atlassian data, and you just need to pull the Atlassian data. It's better to manage the connector from that system instead. Connecting from the tools where you work to the tools where the data lives helps keep indexing costs down, so you're not needlessly indexing information, and it simplifies management, and it helps error resolution. So if something happens, if your search results aren't giving you accurate responses, you don't want to go and have to search a million different platforms to see what's going on. You want to be able to narrow that down. And if you have those governance controls in place before you start your system, you know exactly where to go. So the right system maintains ownership of that feature. All right, now on to best practices. Before that happens, does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns in the chat? Liz says, that's why GraphQL is becoming such a good tool, and Atlassian has a graph. Yes, keep the comments up, Liz, because I'm a little sketchy on whether or not Livestream is actually pulling through all the chats from the connected platforms. But we're going to rock and roll onto best practices. So when implementing AI search with connectors, there are a few key practices to keep in mind to keep your system reliable, secure, and effective. Keep permissions aligned with your source system, so users only see what they're authorized to access. Regular permission syncing across tools like Google Drive, Slack, SharePoint prevents accidental data exposure. So this is a big one. You got to make sure that all the connectors respect, whether it's in Rovo or another platform, respects the user roles and access levels of the platform that it's pulling that information from. This is developed over time, and we want to make sure that that continues to develop and stays close and tight. If you're not checking your user roles and access levels in various different systems regularly, you increase risk. So if you're like, oh, I set up the Google Workplace a long time ago for everybody, and I haven't checked it in 3 years, well, that's a challenge, because the second you connect it to AI, it's giving people increased access or ease of access to search information. And I like to say that I trust everybody and no one would ever abuse AI, but it happens. And so you are creating risk and exposure when you're not regularly checking your access and your permission levels. Maintain data freshness with incremental and real-time indexing to ensure results reflect the latest updates without overloading your system. You can't just like APIs, you can't just flood your API with a ton of information because it'll slow down your system. And if you remove information, if you change information, you want to make sure it's indexing the most up-to-date information along the way. So your AI is only as good as your data. So you want to make sure that your data is clean and it's up to date. Use the feedback loops. So when you get a search results, give it the thumbs up or the thumbs down and give reasons why it's not working. So if you use a search term and it pulls up something completely different, tell it like, this is not the right search that I'm looking for when I use this search term. Or if it pulls up old information first, Where your newer information is on the bottom of the list, say specifically, this is old information. I don't know why it's the 5th one down. And that way the system is always understanding or learning what your search habits are and how to best give you the most accurate information. Use the data to continuously improve relevance and ranking. So your responses are ranked in Rovo with it's supposed to be the best results first and all the secondary responses last. So start your focus search. Start with a focus search. Don't try to pull in all the information of the world and say and start with the very general prompts like, what is the meaning of life? Like your search is going to stall no matter what. The answer has to be within your system, or because many of the connectors are connected to a deep research feature or a deep research LLM that is connected to like the internet. It's not sharing your data with the internet, but it's just connected to an LLM that has learned off the internet. That information has to be available in order to give you a response. So narrow your scope to what you need to look for. Connect only your most critical systems. I cannot emphasize this enough. You don't want to index all of your Google Drive for everybody in your organization. I recommend having a single folder on everyone's Google Drive that says, this is my AI sync folder. So people know exactly what they're contributing to that index and aren't contributing other things. Now, you don't have to worry because of user roles and access level that my personal files are now they're going to be indexed and other people are going to be able to pull that information. No, that's not the concern. The concern is with consumption caps. If you index items that you don't really need to index, you're going to hit your cap sooner rather than later. And you're also slowing down your system and all of these indexing. And if there's an issue with the indexing, it's harder for someone like an AI admin to go in there and see what the challenge is. So test and measure and expand gradually your controls to minimize those errors. So if you start with a folder, everyone gets one AI folder in the org, and everybody is indexing those, and you're liking the responses, and it works for you. Then you can expand to department shared folders, and then once everything is working well with the shared folders, then expand if you really do want to, because it's super necessary for your organization. Then you can expand to everybody's drive. It keeps things manageable. Provide transparency by showing where each result came from. In Rovo, it should tell you specifically. It has the icon of the connector and the information it's yielding. So if it pulls something from Google Drive, it'll have a Google Drive icon and then that information, and you can click on it to get more information and to go to the source data. If you're using an AI that doesn't tell you where it's at, ask it, where did you get this information from? That's a good question to ask to understand if your AI is hallucinating, because sometimes AI, in a eagerness to please, will just give you misinformation or make up stats or quotes and things like that. So you want to know where that is, and then use information literacy. Use your own knowledge to see whether or not those data sources can be trusted. Meaning, are you looking at an old file? Are you looking at an answer from a department that really doesn't apply to your use case or the way you're looking at the information? Finally, maintain ongoing governance. Regularly audit performance, monitor access issues or drift. Drift is when your large language model goes away from your goals, and keep connectors configuration under review. So keep reviewing those connectors. And AI search is not a set it and forget it. People just, since it's such a basic need, people tend to think, it's automatic, it's easy. It is easy and it's designed to be easy, but it also has its own unique challenges and where it can go wrong. And if you're not paying attention, you could start making decisions off of misinformation. And that is something we do not want. All right, resources. So I'm the founder of the Unified AI Adoption Model. There is a website that I keep all of the information on. The vast majority of the information is free to use. The reason I moved it to this platform is to protect copyright and the patent of the information. These are the resources that apply specifically to the experimentation stage of the framework. On the personal AI adoption framework side, the tools to look at help you safely test and refine how AI fits into your daily workflow. The prompt practice log and the prompt library builders guide you through how to do structured experimentation with your prompting. Prompting is what you say in the search bar. While the red flag indicator helps you spot when results or behaviors may not be reliable. And when it comes to search, it's easy to overlook when it's not giving you accurate results unless it's right there in your face and completely wrong. On the SAF side, the scalable AI adoption side for organizations, these tools scale that same experimentation to an organization level. The AI connector acceptance package ensures that new integrations meet security and accuracy standards. This is a package that is meant to be presented to your security team because the security team needs to know what they're implementing in the system and if it meets their security standards. I also use this packet to present to admins of other products. So like if I am the Atlassian admin, but I want to use a Google connector, I have to go talk to the Google admin and they have to know certain amounts of information in order to say, yeah, you can connect to my system safely. So the next one on the list is the model performance tracker. It helps you monitor ongoing results, and the production readiness checklist confirms that pilots are ready to expand responsibly. So you're looking in AI search with connectors, you're looking for reliability of information. Is it giving you all the information accurately? All of these are available. If you have any challenges, you can reach out to me. If you want me just to download something and send it to you. If you're on this course, just let me know. If you're Liz, I'll give you whatever you want, Liz. Curriculum map. So there are a series of courses throughout the year for various different AI products out there in the world, free on Atlassian, community-led classes. And Brian and Lena teach Forge classes every Friday. Kate is going to do a JSM and JPD class in November, and then Brian and Lena are going to do courses in December. And that is what's currently posted. Instructors are always adding classes to that list. If you want to learn more about the model, I've written a book. It is somewhere behind me. It is free if you subscribe to Kindle Unlimited, an audiobook. If you reach out to me, I have some coupons for the audiobook if you're interested. And let's see, Accelerator participants also receive a complimentary audiobook for their participant in the program. If you want to apply to the free Accelerator, go on the homepage of unifiedaiadoption.com. The application is right there. And before we wrap up, let's see if that chat feature in Restream is actually working. We have 15 minutes for questions, comments, concerns. Liz. Oh, you are awesome, Liz. It is an easy read. I hope it's an easy read. I hope it's very practical. I give use cases in the book. Troubleshooting, what to do when certain things come up. You should take me up on various different things. Right now, there are 6 organizations in our accelerator, and they're doing some amazing work that I hope to be able to share with you all in a future conference or meetup. Any questions, comments, concerns out there? Liz will help me with the chat if I can't see it, because I can see hers. I don't see everyone's questions. All right. Let's see. To close it out, we're going to close this out, and hopefully it's recorded somewhere. Thank you for joining today's session. I hope it gave you a clearer view of how connectors make AI search smarter, safer, and more effective across your tools. To learn more about services, ConnectCentric is an Atlassian partner and official service partner for the Unified AI Adoption Model. You can find them at connectcentric.com. Unified AI adoption.com is just for the resources. For services, go to ConnectCentric. And of course, you can follow me on LinkedIn. And that is all. I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you for coming. I hope you were able to come. And I'll see you all next time.